Hello and welcome. Got any spoons? I'm your host, Ann, and my co-host is here, Miss Amberlyn, Mrs. Labeezy. We are zebras. We are not doctors. We do not give medical advice. We do share our personal experiences, tips, tricks, and life hacks to dealing with chronic illness, disability, and pain. Yes, that is something that I've said for nearly 2 years, and Amberlyn is new to our program, but we are so happy that she joined us. It's so much
Yeah.
more fun, right? Right?
Are we saying it's fun? Is that what we're going? Is that the word we're going with? Yeah.
Well,
F
it
U
is
N
Valentine's
fun.
Day, and we are friends, and we were going to talk about friends
Yay!
today. And I think, yeah, having a friend on my podcast is better than being all alone. Yeah.
Yes, it is. We love Valentine's Day.
Yes. So, but before we get to our topic of today, of friendship, how's your spoons, Mrs. Labeezy?
I'm sitting between 4 and 5 spoons today. Where are you at?
Mm, I'm doing okay. I'm awake and I'm with a friend. I get good energy from good friendships. I really do.
Yeah,
That helps fill my cup, and I'm very happy when I get to see friends. So it's always better when we're together.
me
That
too.
sounds so cliche. I think that was
No.
a catch. No, I do. I think it was a catchphrase for some commercial back in the 70s and shush about the age thing. But yeah,
I
it's a
freaking
thing.
loved it though.
So yeah, I'm good. I'm not complaining right now. That's what I'm
Good.
doing. So, um, let's see. Oh yeah. So we are really close to Valentine's Day. Granted, this podcast will probably come out afterwards, which is why we're not talking about Valentine's Day and relationships of a romantic nature, but rather friendships and chronic illness and the ebbs and flows and things like that. So, um, thoughts, Mrs. Labeezy?
Wow, I mean, Valentine's Day just in general, this time of the year is rough. I feel like everybody is going through it with how cold it is. But I will say, I will our community in general has been the strongest it ever has been. The amount of comments and the uplifting and just the amount of people amongst themselves, the amount of back and forth and the amount of chatter. I've gone live 3 times in the last week, which is kind of out of normal for me. I know it's out of the norm for me. And I've
Mm-hmm.
had a group of people that have been showing up for these lives, which isn't normal for me either. But they're all talking amongst themselves, and these aren't people that live anywhere near each other. But there are
Okay.
people that are saying, "Hey, how are you doing? I hope you have a great day. Oh, hey, I'm sorry you're experiencing these symptoms. Hey, this is what I'm going through." People that
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't necessarily ever speak to each other, but they're being given the time of day and being given that space and
Mm-hmm.
being given that just comfort of knowing that someone actually cares and that, we understand that we're what you're going through. And it's such an amazing thing to have, especially in a time like right now, in this time of the year, when it's so freaking cold and everything hurts. Because I don't know about you, but when everything is cold, like this finger has been stuck, it won't bend past right there. It's like, it's stuck.
Possibly, Mrs. Labeezy, that's a normal range of motion. I want to throw that out there.
This one goes that far, though.
Sweetie, do you really think that you can do one and do the other and think that whatever your range is normal? Do you think this
I
is
mean,
normal? We're zebras. This doesn't get to, you don't get to say which one's normal.
you would think closing a fist all the way would be normal, not looking like a little hook finger. I look like Captain Hook right now.
Are you
Arr!
saying that you're trying to make a fist like this and you can't do a fist
I'm
like
saying I'm trying to
this?
close my finger all the way, and that's as far as I can go.
Okay, I get it now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't get it before. It took a minute. I needed the visual. And for those of you who are listening to us on Spotify, Mrs. Labeezy has a Captain Hook for a front finger, a ring, not a ring finger, a pointer finger. And she's trying to tell me that she's trying to whine that she doesn't have the flexibility, and I'm not letting her get away with it. I'm trying to say we're zebras, and you're just listening to go, what the hell are they talking about? No, here she is. She's this little Imagine Hook, like with Robin Williams. She doesn't know names either, but it's okay. But remember the poster for that movie, and it's a hook. That's what her finger looks like, and that's all the farther it will go. And right now she's dying laughing, which is
I'm
hilarious,
overeating.
which just keeps me going because I'll just keep going, making her laugh because laughter is so awesome. Hooky, hooky, hooky.
It was the immediate description of she's got a Captain Hook. It's like, no, she did not. What gets me is it's numb. Like the whole finger is numb, and it has been for like 2 weeks. Like
I don't think Captain Hook can feel his hook either.
I don't think so either. I just wasn't planning on trying out for that position anytime soon, and I wasn't trying to cosplay. So I mean, here we are. It's cool. It's just one finger though, so it's fine. Got 9 more to go.
Yes. See how important friendship is?
Yep,
Because I don't know, maybe now you have 5.5 spoons.
I do.
Maybe
I
I gave you a
do.
half of one. Just the
I did.
laughter. It's the best
It was the
medicine, don't
laughter.
you know? Um, you- okay. Here's the tale of two zebras, though, in that Mrs. Labeezy and I are in two very different spots in life. She has 3 children in school, which most people will tell you is the time when at least momming might be that's where you can find a friendship group is what your kids are involved with. Now I know I'm not that's not how it goes for zebras. And that is you get to talk about that. I am a empty nester. And so that's a different challenge for as to how I would find friends or keep friends or have friends that even work in my life. So Mrs. Labeezy, Emberlyn, mom of 3 school-aged children.
Um, I have a couple friends. I have a friend that doesn't have any children. That is local. And then she also is a zebra. And then I do have a friend that does have children that is a friend that's one of my children's friends. But I struggle to keep friends that are neurotypical. And I struggle with that because of communication. And for me, it's because it takes so much work to put into these relationships. And I get to a certain point where I feel like it's just not worth it to me. And I don't want to anymore. And I know that's probably not the best way to look at it sometimes, but that's what I do. And for me, honestly, I found it easier to have friends online and like have friends that I can talk to everywhere else, at friends that I
Mhm.
can come visit and friends that, understand me and understand what I'm going through rather than friends that are just around me that are going through life but don't truly understand. I do have a neighbor who is also chronically ill, but she is chronically ill with a different chronic illness, but she hasn't quite accepted her chronic illness yet. So it's kind of hard sometimes to communicate with her because she'll say that she's so sorry that I'm going through all of these things and she can't understand or begin to fathom how I'm going through any of these things. And then I see how she's struggling, and then I'm like, oh, okay. All right, well, you'll eventually see when you look in the mirror what you're going through. But, it's for me it's just been easier to make friends online. It's been hard.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Um, yes, hard. How much of it is my chronic illness? You
Yeah.
know, it's yeah, it's been a long time. Been a long
Yeah.
time, been a long time, been a long, lonely time. Um, yeah. Uh, I too had children early, young. I do not have a military spouse, but we've moved over a dozen times. And I think, and it's been hard. And it's something I talk to my therapist about. Uh, yep, I see a therapist every week, guys, every week. Please note
Good
that.
job.
Um, apparently at my palliative appointment, my palliative doctor looked at my husband and said, "You really need to encourage her to go to therapy."
Wow.
She does
That's
at least
cute.
once a week. That's so sweet.
So
If
sweet of you.
you didn't,
Stay in your lane.
um, but uh, what I think I've come to learn is one of the challenges that I have is that I am very self-reflective and I'm looking to improve. I'm looking to learn. I
Mm,
might find someone who has something in common, but if I'm looking like for my chronic illness, not to use it as an excuse, but I'm going to be looking to improve things and um, I- I'm trying to choose my words carefully and parsing them. I'm having a hard time because I don't want anyone to feel judged, like if they don't grow or if they don't feel like they're introspective or, they're just surviving. And I do understand that. Um, for
well,
me, I'm talking more
everybody's
about I'm talking about excuse generators is what I call them. That like if you say, "Hey, Anne, I'm dealing with this," and I'm like, "Oh, this is what helps me," and it's always, "Yeah, but," and I might be one of those excuse generators to someone else when they tell me, "Have you tried seaweed? Have you tried yoga?" I'm gonna be like, "You need to be quiet. You need to be quiet
right.
right now." So I'm not trying to suggest that I too get suggestions and growth ideas that I either feel like I've already explored or integrated. It's when people reject things out of hand that are not typical and have reasons why nothing will ever work. And I'm just like, okay, you're right. And I have to limit. I'm still going to be their friend. I just have to limit the amount of time that I spend because that's very draining for me. But
Makes sense.
and it is hard to get people together. I tried there's an app. I don't know if millennials use it or not. A website called meetup.com.
Oh, is it specifically just to meet up, like meet friends?
Yes, it is.
I
It
feel like
is
there are
a
creepy people. Like, there's always creepy people that lurk.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's for local. It's wherever your region is, and then I mean, if you want to go join a writing group that actually meets in person,
Mm,
you can do that. And I started a meetup group for gastroparesis,
that's
and
awesome.
I mean, we had like maybe 4 or 5 people at the most.
Hey,
But people usually they were working really hard. That was their goal, was to make it to a meetup, to meet other
yeah.
people. And then I would say once they got there, it is just so difficult that then the friendships continued online. You knew they were a real person, you knew
Right.
they were local. There's a little bit different level of understanding. And I appreciated that. But as a spoonie, it got hard for me too. I couldn't make every single one and I couldn't organize
Right.
and to find others that were willing to take on some, I don't know,
That might
higher
be exhausting.
responsibility. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's challenging.
Well,
So,
especially because it's not just that, like, you're still a mom, you're still a wife, you still have pets, like, there's
I
still
am.
other things going on. Yes! Like, you still have all of these hats on, ma'am.
Mm, yes, 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 yes. Also, I started a job.
You did!
I did. I have a little part-time gig. I'm to be a people
Oh.
person. That's totally up my alley. Uh, and I haven't had a job in like a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
And it's always like wake up call, like a smack in the
Yeah.
face of what real people. I'm not gonna call it normal. I
Right
don't
now.
think they're normal. I don't know what normal is, but those who
Right.
maybe are chronically ill, who maybe see my port and they're like,
Right.
"Oh,
Yeah.
cancer." I'm like,
Oh.
they
Yep.
just whatever they know, that's what you have. I have,
Yeah.
and I have mobility aids, and there are people in the office. I guess people don't ask, which is
They
fine
just
if you
assume.
don't want to ask, but then could you maybe not have a leer at that be like,
Yeah. Oh, they just
well,
watch you?
yeah, why don't you ask? You're parking
No.
in a handicap spot. Yeah, we've talked about that. Um, I got lectured. I got a
For what?
mom talk. I got a mom talk
Why?
because the person's older than me and thinks that they know life and they've known me for I don't know, 5 days. So they can give me a mom talk and let me know that I need to do better self-care.
Um,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. So, you know, it's that stuff. I don't
Ugh,
know. I'm not upset. It is, I get it.
frustrating.
They're trying to be helpful. Um, they have no idea how out of their league they are. So it's more like pity. I'm just like, uh-huh,
Right.
thanks for the mom talk. I appreciate it. Um, I don't
Thanks.
do this, but I'm a know-it-all.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Give me a pep talk. There's a reason I have a podcast because I know it all. Hey, if you're not watching the podcast, if you're listening to it, there's a white sarcasm flag flopping around right now. So, yeah. See, I feel like the energy even just drained talking about friendships, that it's something that we all want and need, but yet it is difficult to talk about because
It's
they're
hard.
difficult, whether it's from our side, whether it's from their side. And I know so many, especially younger spoonies, have lost friends. They're mourning a lot. And
Right.
that's real. And um and so I think the online communities are fantastic and I think they are blossoming. I had a friend share I think it's a podcast. It was a clip about
Mhm.
8 minutes, that you have certain friends that if they can give you 8 minutes, that it will
Yeah,
help you feel better. And who can you count on for those 8 minutes? And
I love.
I thought that was a really good article. I'll make sure that I link to that because that has nothing to do with, it has everything to do with holding space for someone in those eight
Mhm.
minutes and what they're experiencing. but it doesn't mean that you have to be in the same room on the phone or, it doesn't say how.
Right.
Um,
It's just giving them that undivided, just one-on-one. It's literally 8 minutes. It's not
yeah,
that long.
yeah. So, um, and I think that's also, I know for sure that, oh, I'm so sorry. Um, there are times when I've been in a really low, and
Yeah.
I'm not a texter per se. I don't think that's my generation.
Right.
But is that an excuse generator? Damn. Okay, I prefer talking on the phone when I'm in a really
Mhm.
bad spot because I need to hear their
Right.
voice. I don't want to hear my voice. I'm already stuck in my head. So,
Right.
um, probably my lowest lows are those times when I've reached out and I need 8 minutes, but I didn't
Mm.
have that terminology and I made phone calls, and bless their hearts, they know something's up probably. I'm not calling at a normal time, and
Right.
they are busy. They have lives and they didn't
Right.
answer the phone, and that's okay. I'm not trying to shame them. But I found out that this article was something that I shared with those people that I reach out to in my lowest, to say, hey, will you read this? Can we agree to have like a bat signal? Or,
Yeah.
if I say 8 minutes, maybe you can say Eminem, the 8 miles, 8 minutes. Isn't it in bull riding? It's 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use 8 seconds.
Yeah. So Um, but yeah, I use that as a tool to connect with my people, to let them know that, one, I consider them one of these friends. And if they tell me they need 8 minutes, I'm there for them.
Right.
I think it's a matter of, in this day and age, communicating that so they know what they're getting into.
Right.
I need 8 minutes right now. I need those 8 minutes. I need you to hold space. That's what I need. And a lot of
Right.
times we already have that. We have codes like peanut butter.
Mhm.
If I mean, we all have trauma, and I don't
Mhm.
know what everybody's triggers are, and I can't give a trigger warning to everything
Right.
per se because they may not even know that it's a trigger. What I do know,
Right.
if
Oh
if
my
if,
god.
if somebody says peanut butter, I'm to shut up. Like I put peanut butter in my mouth. I'm like, and
Mm.
pivot on a dime and go to a different subject,
Mm.
or shut my mouth and hold space for them if they're triggered.
Yeah.
So that's something that we already have in place for my support system.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about you,
I
Amberlyn. I might have to bring out my red shirt and like say, do we
Why?
have this out?
No. I like that you guys have methods in place. We're still trying to find my husband and I are still trying to find to ways to aid him helping my PTSD because I found coping tools. I know how to help with triggers. I know I know ways to help myself. But when triggers occur out in public, he freezes like a deer in headlights because he's never experienced these things before and he wants to be able to help, but he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know what to do. So it's always interesting to hear other people's perspectives and I love to hear it. And,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's so I was like I was soaking in what you were hearing or what you were saying and, like, hearing it.
Yeah.
You were good.
Uh, I do know a couple where the one spouse is processing some significant trauma, and they have created note cards for their spouse. So if they recognize that they're sad, um,
Mhm.
flipping the note card over and having suggestions of, um, personally, I would say, like, put on put on the lip sync competition,
Uh-huh.
put on the rocks singing Taylor Swift Shake It Off, or uh or Ellen singing, um bitch better bring my money.
Oh,
Don't
it's a good
tell me
one.
people got. Now, I did make a spoony version of that of
Yeah,
bitch better bring my pain meds. Don't tell me people got when I'm in the hospital. Things like that will improve my mood
yeah,
and I have to make those cards for myself because when I'm in it, I don't think to like turn on the TV and watch something funny. I am like, "Ugh."
right.
So I thought that was brilliant that my friend shared that. And
Yeah.
um I don't know, out and about. Does he know about grounding?
He knows about grounding. I think his biggest issue, he's a fixer. His biggest thing is, trying to take away whatever the trigger is or whatever the problem is, and that's not always the solution. Um, so the recently what I've taught him is to just hug me. So instead of everything else that's going on around me, because a lot of the times we're in a very crowded place with a
Hmm.
lot of things going on around me, my husband is bigger than I am. If he can hug me and hold me really tight, it's almost like having a weighted blanket around me, and I can almost disassociate and turn my ears off and close my eyes, and I'm not there anymore.
Okay.
That can help, like, things like that would help rather than him panicking, trying to freak out and find where the thing is, trying to find that. That's gonna stress me out more. That's not helping. So, yeah, it's been a learning process, and it's nothing ever that he has done wrong ever. Man is a saint. Love him more than life itself. Our anniversary is coming up on the 25th. I'm so excited.
Noted. Um, okay, so I'm gonna hold up 5 fingers, and you can, if you're gonna video, you're gonna cut this out if you want, because this is
Okay.
something that I'm saying to you, and it can be helpful
Okay.
to others. So when I said, does he know about grounding? If he recognizes that you're panicking, you're
Mhm.
using the 5 senses. And so if I saw you, I'd be like, Amberlyn, one, I would touch your hand if you've given me that permission. I'd be like,
Mhm.
can you look around and name 5 things? And the trick is that you have to, maybe you know this. Do you know this?
I have heard of it before. I didn't remember it until you're telling me now.
Okay.
He doesn't know about it yet,
Okay.
but I need to tell him about it.
I'll keep
Yes.
going then, so in
I need
case
you to
other
keep going.
people.
Yes.
So if you have someone who has trauma and you know that they've been triggered if they are disassociated, and maybe that's where you want to go, like you mentioned. But if we're trying to like ground them back to this world because we can't control the trauma and they've gone, um, the trick is the 5 senses. And so if you look around and you name 5 things, and one of the keys is to not, if it's said with judgment, then ask them to restate it. So I'll give examples. Look around you and name 5 things. Well, there's that really cute quilt on my wall, but my aunt is dead. And okay, there is a quilt on the wall. What color is it? There's a green quilt on the wall. Okay, there's one. There's a green baby. Okay. There's a white door. Okay. There's a black box. Okay. And I haven't,
Mhm.
I don't assign feelings or talk about the
Right.
history or anything like that, just 5. And then you go to, hearing. What do you hear? I hear my noise, my white noise machine. I am actually not hearing the child who plays basketball in the backyard all the time. But so you go through that. And so touching, smelling, if you can taste one thing, it's usually, it's harder to taste things. And that's why you're working your way down and you work down on the number of things that you have to feel. Also, the nose is the most pronounced bringer of trauma.
Yeah.
So if you have in your pocket like an Altoids tin or something, and if that's a smell that you like, or if you put a smell that you like in there, um, yeah, I love my
Hmm.
Altoids. Love them. I love them. I love eucalyptus too. I hate
Yes.
lavender, and I hate a few other things. They're triggers in a bad way. So, uh, if you have a feel, if you know, like touching things, the
Hmm.
clothes, like what are you wearing? Like, what does your cowl feel like? What does the ear feel like? And
Yeah.
I've thought about when making these, actually like making the ears silky and
Oh my
trying to
gosh.
offer different textures on the cowls so that they could be a grounding tool as well.
Mhm.
Or even on the inside of it rather than on the outside. So you could have like corduroy here and then like a little silky and then, different things and uh those type of
Ooh.
ideas.
You know, you could even do, have you seen the fabric that they have mainly on baby blankets that is almost like it's a soft fabric, but it almost has like raised bumps on it, every here and there on it.
Uh-huh.
Um, you could do that, and then that would be a really fun
Mhm.
fabric to be. I
I
like
can make the bumps. I can quilt
me.
bubbles.
I just like the bubbles.
Uh, I can do that. I actually, yeah, I have a Wonder Woman quilt that has t-shirts and then it's got gastroparesis and the in between is from the backing is all of
Mhm.
the um like some I took a gown from every hospital visit, the gown that I was wearing on before I left home. I
What?
just put it in my bag when I would switch
Yeah.
out. And then on the back is red fabric, like you were just saying, it's got those little bumps. And then, so
Mhm.
here's Wonder Woman themed, and then gastroparesis with a red backing. And then the every quilt that I have has a hidden panel on the back. And on that one, the alter ego of my Wonder Woman is Deadpool. So
That's
earlier
so
today, you told me that
cool.
red was my best color. I was like, yeah, because it matches the red shot in my eyes.
That's so cool.
I'm Deadpool. So,
That's
uh, uh,
awesome. I did not
uh,
realize you were such a, talented quilter. What is the actual correct term for someone who quilts?
I don't quilt.
Well, you just said you made quilts.
I said I have quilts. I
Oh my
said
goodness.
with every quilt I have, there's a hidden panel because I have them made.
Oh.
I can't
I
quilt.
wanna see
No,
that one.
I have 9 aunts. My mom is one of 9, and they
Ah,
are all very crafty people, other than my mom. She's a bean
my
counter.
yeah,
She does numbers, she does not do crafts, but she is such a huge supporter of all of her sisters. And
yeah,
um, so I've grown up with a love of that stuff, but I too thought that I had no abilities. So for those
right.
who don't know me, who've not listened to the podcast, I just learned to crochet just over a year ago.
And
So
she's
it was
really
something I
good
did
at it.
for my 50th. When I hit my 50th, I was like, God, I've got to try to do something. So
She made
yes,
these.
I with my own meat claws, as Mrs. Labeezy said,
These are meat
I
claws.
made our zebra cowls. So that's my that's my thing.
My grandma used to make quilts. Like, I always think that's so freaking cool. I could never, like, after trying, I went to like one quilting class and
Hmm.
they went through the like the bare bones of, okay, this is what we're gonna be going through over the next 3 months. And I was like, nope. Okay, I'm going home now. Bye. Like, I
I
could not.
Yeah, I did make a quilt years ago. Let's
Yeah.
see, 27 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and I made it out of my husband's like old denim jeans, and
Awesome.
he was a football player and his dad was a coach for 27 years. And then my husband coached with his dad for a couple of years. And so they were always at games. And I
Mhm.
took jeans, which were the color of the team that his dad coached. And then I used the backing to be his alma mater. And what I
Mhm.
made was a quilted like lap blanket. So I gave it to my mother-in-law. So every time she went to the football games, she'd be able to sit on something. And that way it wasn't
Aw.
something to be like on display like the beautiful works of art my
Yeah,
aunts make. It was just I tried
it was
it,
beautiful.
I did it, I could
Yeah.
say I made it, and I do appreciate the talent that it takes to make a quilt.
Right,
But
man, they are
yeah.
talented.
So I like to design them if that counts. I get
Yes, it does.
the t-shirts and the different how I want it, and I get to pick out the fabrics. I get all that fun stuff. I
Yeah.
don't actually sew.
I have my grandma designed a single quilt for me from the time that I was born until I was 18. I didn't get it until I was 25. It has a bunch of carousel horses that she hand stitched the whole dang thing.
Oh
And I
my
have it
goodness.
upstairs. I'll show it to you next time. But it's the
Yeah.
most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, I love
Wow.
it so much. Mm.
There's a thing with quilting, crocheting, knitting, that type of thing, of doing
Mhm.
temperature blankets.
Mm.
So um you kind of have a they take like a box and then they have temperatures and then the color they'll thread through. And so if today's temperature, if the high is
Yeah.
2, it's going to be this color blue, and
Yeah.
then on this day, and so you get a full year. And I am not one who works on the calendar year or anything.
Mhm.
um so my birthday will be coming up, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do this for my birthday, since I'd like to try to find something to like challenge myself and grow, like I said, do something new and different and stuff.
When's your birthday, Ann?
Well, what's I totally ironic is that my mama is a CPA and I'm a tax baby.
When's your birthday, Ann? Is it the first?
Just told you what my
I
birthday is.
I don't know when I don't know when taxes are. Do I have to look? Is it tax day? Is it a tax? Do the taxes have a day? Is there a tax day?
It's
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
oh my God.
I didn't know.
Aaron, you're
I didn't know
killing
there was.
me.
I didn't know there was a taxes day.
Every year your taxes are due on the same day. I'm guessing you've never had to owe and you've gotten refunds.
Well, because we file them as soon as we get our W-2s. Oh,
Yeah.
April 15th. Got it. Noted. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, we file them as soon as possible so we can get our refunds. We always get money back because, we pay as many taxes, the highest tax bracket as possible with his paychecks,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and
So
at the
you
very
so you
beginning.
give the government a loan so that they can give you your money back.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. And he deployed, so he went out there and played around for a little bit in the sand, so they were like,
Like,
"Here you go. Here's some money." And he was like, "Yay."
yeah, I think that's a part of the world that I don't know about is you get money for being deployed.
Yeah, so what they'll do is whatever money, depending on how long you're deployed. If you're deployed for longer than 30 days, you get something called family separation pay, and it's normally $250 per dependent. And for us, there are 5 of us,
Hmm.
so that adds up. And he was gone for 2 months. Yeah, he was gone for 2 months. And then his paycheck while he's deployed is non-taxable. So, all of the money that we got taxed, we got back during that pay period. And also, what else? There was something else. I think he got a signing bonus because there's a pilot shortage right now. There's a huge military pilot shortage because they realized you get paid way more if you fly commercially. But my husband needs flight hours before he can fly commercially, so he's
Okay.
staying a little bit longer.
That is something that you will have to share more with me because, yeah, military and taxes and benefits and money type stuff is very different from my knowledge base. I'm a know-it-all, and I just admitted I didn't know something.
I
Hey,
would love to
Amber,
teach you.
that is like huge. I'm just telling you. Speaking of taxes, let's ask the audience if,
Yes,
since you have a bigger audience on the Clock app, if they would be interested in us talking about our experience with tax deductions with medical.
absolutely. I honestly I will throw the question out there
Hmm.
because I know you have a lot of experience, right?
Yes, that I know a lot about. We'll
And
be done.
I honestly am not as experienced, so you would be teaching me immensely. Um, but
I
would
was a
you have
homeschooler. Or I did
your
homeschool.
homeschool? Oh, you
I did. I taught our
homeschool.
kids. I homeschooled our kids for a portion, a good portion.
My hat goes
So,
off to you. I don't know how in the heck y'all do it. I
yeah, people say that, and my response is you do it what you got to do. I mean,
I just
everybody has challenges, and you just face it. So you do what
it's
you
not
got to do.
even that. Like, I just don't understand the curriculum. That's my problem. Is like my kids bring home the schoolwork and like my brain struggles.
Yeah, you're talking about
Struggles.
regular school. Yeah, I'm not. Homeschooling is not that. No, that's the
No.
cookie cutter. No, we don't do the cookie cutter of public school
No.
homeschooling. That is what we are trying to avoid. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
We don't have classrooms. Well, some people do, but no, it wasn't a classroom in our home. No, I could regale you with stories of unschooling and scare people.
Oh, I
Like,
love unschooling stories. I follow unschoolers all day long. And
I was
like
like,
it's turned out amazing.
I was like, are you being sarcastic? Do you know what I'm
No.
talking about? Okay.
No, their kids turn out amazing. And seriously, like I have heard of so many and I have seen how especially with autistic children, it would help so much if we could get our life experience rather than school experience because we're not getting the life experience that we need to set us up to adult. We're getting all the
I
book
know.
experience, which is awesome, to job and work, which is really frustrating because I mean the school systems weren't set up until the, the until what 1940s 1930s. So I mean realistically they weren't set up until they were created to create what is society. So I mean if we were to create a school system where children were to learn how to live in society where they went to a job where they had to go around and like socialize and they had to go and do like real people things and had to go around other people, like maybe that would be beneficial, but that would never happen. Especially even in Japan, it was interesting because like toddlers would be walking around with adults like going to the store buying things, doing errands, and no one bats an eye. But these children were doing everything an adult would do, and they're fully functioning and everything by the time that they're in kindergarten. You know what?
I think,
That's what we're doing wrong here.
yeah, I think I'm gonna put up those five fingers again in case you want to cut this out because this is more political. But
Mhm.
my philosophy on that is that it's ironic and challenging that we have a cookie cutter system in a melting pot society. You have, like Japan, it's a culture. In Sweden, it's one culture. And we can
Yeah,
agree what our values are or how it's done. I know in the Japanese culture, there's
right,
the term of them and their responsibility they feel to encourage, and everybody,
right.
these are our societal expectations. I just said societal expectations. Now, what are you going to apply in the United States to
Yeah,
societal expectations? That in itself is scary, but that is what we have done in the public school system. And to think that we could dismantle that and then agree upon the dismantling is a
right.
challenge. But
That absolutely makes sense.
and that's I think why I really I struggle with socialized medicine because again, uh the idea that we're all the same, we're not.
Right,
And I want people to be cared for, I do. um and it's not so much the idea of care, it's the idea of, I don't know, standardized care,
right. Well, not
because
every
that's what,
it's not a one size fits all.
right, I mean, is that not why we wear zebra stripes?
Right,
Because we are so different from what might be considered standard. And I just got a diagnosis of a disease that's been, quote, known as a male predominant disorder that was always diagnosed before age 25.
well, and tell them why.
Because the first and main symptom is low back pain. It's a specific arthritis of the back. And the only people they would listen to is 20-year-old males going, my back, it hurts.
Never in the
Women were
history of
told
time.
to do yoga, to lose weight, to meditate, to go see a therapist. Yes. And so this has been something that has been progressing and it's quite advanced now. And I get to start some
Yeah,
treatment. But hey, that's another thing in Zebraland that we don't get to say very often. I get to
right,
start treatment. I'm going to have a treatment plan with a specific like time frame, medication, expectation. We'll see how this goes.
right.
The rheumatologist did say at the very beginning what she was going to be checking for, and that her experience is that with zebras, um, if they have arthritis, it's typically found when they're older and they start the stiffening process, and that if they can help with manage the arthritis, then their patients usually see a lot of relief. So I'm excited about the
Yeah.
possibility of relief, cautiously excited.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Optimistic.
hopeful for you. I'm hopeful for you.
Yeah.
I really am.
Um, we are we're running out of time.
All right.
So you're gonna talk to your crew. You're gonna throw out there if they want to talk about taxes.
Yes,
You
let us
have
know.
a must-have for the zebras this week.
I do. Okay, we all know it's freaking freezing outside. I am gonna go throw the link that within the description of this, but this is on TikTok. These are under $7 each, but they are rechargeable. They're USB-C hand warmers, and these
When you say
mofos can
each, as in
pop.
I'd pay $14 for the pair, right?
Yes, so
Got
$14
it.
as a whole, but they come with a charger for each.
Okay.
And I bought them separately, and they came together.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
but they came within 2 days.
Does
They
it get
are
really, really hot?
not really, really hot, they don't burn, but
Okay.
they're warm enough to keep them on your hands and just sit there. Like, I
Okay.
literally just put them on my hands like this, and my son took them out airsofting this last weekend and
Mm-hmm.
literally was keeping them on his hands in between rounds, more than content, and I haven't had to charge them since I've had them.
Ah,
So I've had them
nice.
for almost a month now.
Cool.
So I can't recommend these enough.
All right. We have given a shout out to the TikTok hand warmers. And I'll make sure
Yeah,
that, well, I'll try to make sure that Amberlyn gives me a link.
I will. I'm gonna send it to you right after this.
I also wanted to give a shout out to another TikTok creator, Eric. He's actually been on the program before. He was one of my first, if not my first guests. And he has a brilliant hack that he shared this
Ooh,
week, and I will try to link to that about his backpack and taking a little travel tag. And instead of putting your name and your address, he's flipped that and he's listed the items that he needs to make sure he brings with him. And then he
genius.
double checks that tag on his way home to make sure everything gets back in the bag.
That's genius.
So I was like, that's genius. I don't think I have ADHD. I don't know. Other people will be like, Anne, do you know how many squirrel moments you have? You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Just so
Do you want me to
I'm
send you a
thinking,
quiz?
huh?
Do you want me to send you a quiz?
Sure.
All right,
I love
I'll
a
send you one.
quiz. I love a quiz. Um, yes. And so I just thought that was brilliant because I don't have a lot of brain space these days. And I do feel like I'm forgetting things all the time. And if I had a little
Yeah.
checklist of like,
Mhm.
what's in my bag, what's supposed to be in my bag, is it in my bag? Do I still have it? Did I leave anything? And I can just check it off. You could even, you can write it with a dry erase marker, but maybe
Yeah.
that would erase off like in the process of being in my bag or something. So don't
Well,
I
what
have
you
to
could
think
do,
about that one.
hear me out. What you could do is put a piece of packing tape on it, and when you
Oh
want
yeah.
to change the list, take that tape off, and then just write it again.
Well, a lot of the tags have that little fake plastic. And
Oh,
if you put that over it and then used a dry erase to like cross it off when you're going or leaving, and then you can wipe it clear and then
oh, there
cross
you
it off
go.
when you pack up again, right?
There you go. Yeah, yeah, you can do that.
There we go.
That's
See,
way
we can
better.
figure it
Hey,
out.
he's
So
onto
that's my
something.
shout out to Eric, our friend on TikTok, and his brilliant
Thanks,
idea.
Eric.
Woohoo! And we're gonna talk next week, maybe about taxes, maybe not, maybe about service animals is what something we've talked about.
Yeah.
We'll get some feedback. And other than that, Mrs. Labeezy, would you like to sign off?
Bye.